Teflon Don, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, you know, so it's just,
But then you
we could have those debates, we really could.
Teflon was off the chain.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
and
But
I like the way
was a
you
different
followed up
time.
hustling with pushing it. Like, how did you know to come right back on their ass with
You got to.
Right.
Man, just don't take the foot off the gas at all.
Out of nowhere, Ross stood up and left.
Use the restroom one time and I'm gonna take this jacket off.
Let's
do it.
Yeah, you can't.
Man, stay tuned.
You can't take your foot off for nothing.
All gas.
Oh, I'm talking about for life.
Man, things got heated quick when DC Young Fly and Rick Ross crossed paths live, and what went down had fans losing their minds. It all started during a high-profile live event that was supposed to be all fun and games, full of laughs and celebrity moments. But DC flipped the whole vibe when he straight up called out Rick Ross in front of everybody. No filter, no fear. He looked him dead in the eye and said, "You're a fraud, bro. Stop playing." The crowd froze, then exploded. Some people laughed, some gasped, and the cameras caught every second of it. See, this wasn't just random trash talk. For months, fans been noticing tension building between DC and Ross. It started online. Little jabs, slick comments, and interviews where DC hinted he wasn't feeling how some rappers been acting too bougé for the culture. People connected the dots and realized he was talking about Rick Ross, the man who loves to flash cars, money, and mansions, but rarely shows love to the ones grinding at the bottom. And DC, being a real one who came up from nothing, wasn't about to let that fake energy slide. The live event was supposed to be a comedy meets culture night, with Ross as a special guest. But from the moment he stepped on stage, DC's energy shifted. He started roasting him playfully at first, cracking jokes about Ross's endless boss talk, his Wingstop commercials, and that rich forever attitude. But you could tell there was something behind those jokes. When the crowd started cheering louder for DC, Ross tried to flex back, saying, "You can't talk boss talk if you don't own your brand." That's when DC hit him with the smoke, saying, "Own what? You don't even own half the stories you tell." The crowd went wild. Phones came out, flashes went crazy, and the look on Ross's face said it all. He tried to laugh it off, but DC wasn't backing down. He said, "You walk around like a billionaire, but you ain't never put nobody on from your city that didn't already have a buzz. You rap about hustling, but you hustling the fans." Bro, that line had the whole crowd screaming. And that's the thing about DC. He's got that raw energy that cuts through the act. He's not scared to say what people are thinking. Fans been side-eyeing Ross for years over his boss image, wondering if it's all talk. DC just said it out loud, on camera, in front of the man himself. You could see it in the reactions too. Some celebs in the audience tried to hide their faces while others were laughing, like they couldn't believe he actually said that. It was one of those no turning back moments. And just like that, what started as a comedy bit turned into a straight up verbal knockout. DC didn't just roast Rick Ross, he exposed him, and the internet couldn't wait to replay it from every angle.
Oh, listen, man. I came to your podcast. I came for free, homie, no charge. I did it on Face, homie. I didn't ask you what your analytics was and this and that. I came on Face, homie, to show love. And don't make it like I walked off on you. I left early. Rose had some other things to do too. But guess what? I came for free.
Ross started saying things that made no sense.
And next time I come for free, at least have me some lemon pepper Wingstop at that. You heard me? But I came for free. I ain't charge you. You feel me? Don't talk about Rose other business. I came and did that for free. And what is the analytics? How the show doing anyway, man? I'll come back on it and when I'm gonna walk off that the next time and this bitch say, Rose, was I doing? Of course not.
Now here's the thing. This clash didn't come out of nowhere. DC Young Fly been climbing up in comedy, acting, and music, building his brand from the ground up. He's respected because he earned everything, from the Wild 'N Out stage to his stand-up tours to hosting TV shows. He's authentic, raw, and always himself. Meanwhile, Rick Ross built his legacy on luxury, fast cars, mansions, and boss talk. But a lot of fans been calling that image out lately, saying it's all smoke and mirrors. So when DC took that stage, it felt like a real one checking a made-up persona in front of the world. After that fraud moment went viral, clips started spreading everywhere. Some fans said DC crossed the line, while others said it's about time somebody humbled Ross. Twitter blew up with comments like, DC said what we all been thinking, and Ross been fake flexing for years. Even celebrities jumped in. One comedian reposted the clip with the caption, "This is what happens when jokes hit too close to the truth." And let's be real, Rick Ross didn't help himself either. Instead of laughing it off like a boss, he got defensive. He started talking over DC, saying, "You don't understand business, and you can't question my success." But that's the problem. The more he talked, the worse he looked. DC just smiled, leaned into the mic and said, "Real ones don't have to explain what they built. It speaks for itself." That right there, that was the knockout punch. Fans went crazy. After the show, both camps tried to spin the story. Rick Ross's team said it was all jokes, a staged moment for entertainment. But people in the crowd said, "Nah, it was real tension. You could feel it in the energy." DC walked off the stage calm, no yelling, no threats, just confidence. Ross, on the other hand, kept pacing, talking to his team, clearly heated. He wasn't laughing anymore. Then social media detectives started digging. Old interviews resurfaced where Ross talked about being the biggest boss. But fans started pointing out inconsistencies. Business deals that fell through, artists he promised to sign but never did, and even moments where he took credit for moves his team actually made. So when DC called him a fraud, it didn't sound like a random insult. It hit like facts. It became a culture moment. Everyone from hip-hop fans to comedians started debating about authenticity. Who's really real, and who's just selling an image? For a lot of people, DC represented truth and energy from the streets, while Ross represented the industry machine, rich, polished, and out of touch. And in that battle, truth always wins.
Big homie. First of all, you know it love. Second of all, I got to call a spade when it's a spade. You say you did it for free. Everybody do it for free, Ross. You ain't the only nigga who did it for free. T.I. do it for free. Busta Rhymes did it for free. Snoop Dogg did it for free. It wasn't the biggest moment. Now, that's one of the viral moments, but Boosie episode 8 million. Got Country Wayne, shit like 6, 7 million. Like, we do numbers, we do analytics. Our analytics, we was the biggest before you came, and we was the biggest afterwards. So you always got room to come back to be on the biggest podcast in the world, correct? You dig what I'm saying?
The backlash after that night was wild. Rick Ross tried to regain control of the story, posting clips of himself in his mansion, showing off cars, jewelry, and his boss life. But it backfired hard. Every video he dropped was met with comments quoting DC's line, "You're a fraud, bro. Stop playing." It became a meme overnight. You couldn't scroll 2 minutes without seeing fans using that quote under Ross's posts. DC, meanwhile, didn't even need to say much. He just laughed it off in an Instagram live, saying, "I ain't gotta argue with nobody. Truth don't need a PR team." That's when people really started respecting him. He wasn't chasing clout. He was standing on principle. And that's why it hit so hard. He wasn't trying to humiliate Ross. He was defending what he stands for: honesty, hard work, and staying grounded. Insiders say Ross took it personal, though. There were reports he called DC's team privately, saying he felt disrespected and ambushed. But here's the thing. Ross built his brand on calling himself the boss, right? So when someone finally checked him, the mask slipped. It wasn't about comedy anymore. It was about reputation. Even radio hosts started talking about it. Charlemagne the God said, "That wasn't comedy. That was confrontation disguised as humor." And Ross wasn't ready for it. Joe Budden chimed in too, saying Rick Ross been flexing too long without being tested. DC gave him that reality check. It became one of the most talked about viral moments of the year. Not because it was funny, but because it exposed something deeper in hip-hop culture: the gap between being successful and being real. And that's where DC Young Fly's power really showed. He didn't have Ross's money, network, or label support, but he had the people. His words hit because they came from a place of truth, not ego. Fans felt that authenticity in their bones. Ross's empire might be built on marble floors, but DC's energy came from the concrete, and that's what people connect to. By the end of that week, DC's clip had over 50 million views across TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Even people outside hip-hop were quoting it. Late-night hosts made jokes, reaction channels ran wild, and fans started calling it the roast that turned into a revolution. The whole internet agreed on one thing. DC didn't just embarrass Rick Ross, he reminded everyone that in an era full of fakes, real always recognizes real.
The moment you leave our show, you went and did a podcast, a white podcast. You sat your ass right there for almost 2 hours.
And didn't leave.
And you talked. And the white folk asked your ass, was you a correctional officer?
Yeah.
We would have never asked you no shit like that, nigga. We got respect for you.
Right.
And you sat right there and you answered that question so eloquently,
eloquently, right.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't give a
Yeah, I get it.
but I give a because
Try to make it bad.
with you as a person.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before, okay, let's just say before all that happened, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say before all that happened. Bro, I'm listening to you, Ross. I feel like you wanted to, hey, shut the up. I'm listening to you, Ross. I feel like you probably one of the best lyricists from the South that we got. You dig what I'm saying? Like, you poetic, bro. When I listen to your music, I think you put a lot of time and effort into this.
Be mindful. You may never know who knows somebody, who kin to somebody, who saw what you posted. Because you're going to have to stand on business. Ross, big homie. First of all, you know it love. Second of all, I got to call a spade when it's a spade. You say you did it for free. Everybody do it for free, Ross.
Diddy's and Ross, which they good buddies, okay? They're gay. Who? Both. Eddie and Ross.
Now here's where things took an even crazier turn. Rick Ross tried to clap back. A week later, he dropped a clip saying, "You can't destroy a boss." He flexed his Maybach, bragged about owning land, and said he doesn't respond to clowns. But fans weren't buying it. Every comment section was filled with DC's quotes and laughing emojis. It was like Ross couldn't escape it. His boss image took a hit, and the more he tried to defend it, the faker it looked. Meanwhile, DC didn't even mention Ross again. He kept grinding, performing, hosting shows, and spreading positivity. That's what made him look like the real winner. Even other celebs started giving him props. Kevin Hart, Lil Duval, and Mike Epps all dropped comments saying DC handled it like a pro. Because it wasn't about ego, it was about calling out the fakeness that's been floating around in the culture for years. Ross's credibility took a big hit too. People started revisiting his old controversies, his past as a correctional officer, shady business deals, and the way he talks like a kingpin but lives like a mogul built on marketing. DC saying you're a fraud hit so deep because fans already had doubts. DC just said it loud enough for everyone to hear. Now the internet's crowned DC the new face of real talk. He's the one who says what others won't. He's funny, but when he gets serious, people listen. The viral moment became bigger than a roast. It was a cultural shift. It showed that you can't fake real energy. Money, fame, and luxury might make noise, but truth echoes forever. So yeah, DC Young Fly destroyed Rick Ross. Not with violence, not with disrespect, but with words that hit too close to home. He stripped away the glitter and forced the biggest boss to face what fans been whispering for years. Ross might have the cars and the cribs, but DC's got the one thing you can't buy, the people's respect. And that's why fans are saying, DC didn't just win that night, he changed the game. Because no matter how rich or powerful someone acts, one real moment can expose everything. And when it happened live, unfiltered, and caught on camera, that's when the world saw the truth. The jokes weren't jokes. They were history being made right there on stage.